Well, hi everybody, getting ready for the 2016 football season here at the University of Southern Mississippi, and we're going to meet our coaches. And today we've got Golden Eagle assistant coach Lytrel Pollard. Really doesn't need an introduction. He's been around Golden Eagle football for a long time, dating back to that 1996 championship team, that initial Conference USA championship team. He's also been a part of this coaching staff for a long time. And Lytrel, most of your career you've been on the defensive side of the ball. Now you're going to offense. But first, before we talk about that, just talk about your time at Southern Miss. What's Southern Miss mean to you? It's been such a big part of your life and your family's life for such a long time.
You know, you talk about Southern Miss, it's just family. You know, I came here when I was 18-year-old teenager, and now that I'm 40, I spent most of my life in Hattiesburg being a part of this university and seeing my kids come through here, and you know, the family, the environment, the whole city had just took me in like I was born in Hattiesburg. And everywhere I go, I see people that remember me when I was playing, and it's a good feeling. It's home to me. Besides my real home, this is second best thing to being at home.
You probably more than anybody else in this coaching staff can answer this question. What's it mean to you to be a part of Southern Miss? Why is Southern Miss and Southern Miss football so special?
You know, being a part of this program, when I was coming up, it was always known for guys that worked hard for everything they got. And me growing up in the country, everything I had, everything I ever gotten, I had to really work for it. And this university, that's all they known for. Everybody that you see from one part of campus to the next part of campus is taking pride in what they do. It might not be being the president, it might not be the head football coach, but you see guys taking pride in what they do. And I always like being a part of something like that.
All right, one more question about the past, then we'll talk about what's coming up. All your time at Southern Miss, player and a coach, what stands out? What do you remember as far as stuff on the field, games, championships, seasons? What stands out when you think back over your career at Southern Miss?
You know, it's two games that stood out to me. The opportunity to play against Peyton Manning. You know, now you see him as a retired NFL great. And in my college career, you know, I was sitting down talking to my youngest son. I said I played against him. I was on the same field against him. You know, that's something that I always remember, that you played against some of the best, one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. And then our game when we played against Georgia in 1996, when we went over there and I was a junior and no one expected us to win the ball game, and to hear the commentators on the bus on the way back talking about the nasty bunt defense and how those guys were just seemed like they was coming out of the bleachers. They was coming from everywhere. And just that game right there stood out to me. That was the first game I started as a college football player, and those are the two things that I remember the most about the field.
All right, let's talk about this year's team. You made the switch from defense to offense, from coaching in the secondary to the running backs. And I should know this, but I don't think you've never coached on the offensive side of the ball, have you?
No.
What's that transition been like to come from defense all your career now to be the running backs coach?
You know, it's been fun. I always consider myself as an athlete. So you got to be an athlete as a coach. You got to be able to coach multiple things. You know, I've coached the D-line, never played that before. Coached the secondary, never played that before. And so now I'm on offense and coaching the running backs. You always know the person that you really hated to tackle when you was a linebacker. And so when you're looking for running backs, you're looking for that person that you think will give you fits to tackle. And just bringing the defensive mindset of the understanding of defense into the running backs. And they're still probably the best athletes. You know, you go from coaching the best athletes on the secondary, the running back is the best athlete on offense. And it's still fun to watch those guys play.
Well, in your time with your running backs, you've got a tremendous, a lot of really good running backs on this football team. Talk about what you've seen out of those guys you had. And I guess first you start with Ito Smith, Tez Parks, Patrick Brooks, and of course George Payne is back. When you've been around those guys in the spring, in the summer, what sort of stands out?
You know, they're a tight-knit group. They're probably tighter than any group I've ever coached for. They always talking to each other. They always got this group text going on. And Coach, why don't you say something in our group text? You know, they're a tight-knit bond, and they coach each other. One thing I notice about them, they're not jealous of each other because all of them do something different. But when they get to the sideline, they do a good job of coaching each other because I think they all want to be great. They all know can't but one person carry the football. And, as we went through the spring, I had Ito, which, is coming back as a 1,000-yard rusher, and Pat redshirted last year, so he's coming out. Ito's teaching him a lot. And you got George and Tez, which played the year before, coming off redshirt years, so they've played a lot of football, and just to see those guys talk to each other and push each other throughout practice is fun to watch.
What's your message been to those guys? Not so much from a technical standpoint, but what's your message to those guys in the spring, in the summer, as you get ready for the season? What you need them to do back there at the running back spot?
The biggest thing, my message is toughness. I said it's not always going to go your way. They're not going to block everybody every time you get the ball. You're not going to score a touchdown every time you get the ball. But your toughness and your attitude, that's what we got to have. And that's the thing that I brought different-wise to that room. I'm a little bit different being a defensive coach. They always say defensive coaches and offensive coaches are different. And they are. They are. And I'm a little bit more aggressive. And they figured that out about me. And there were some things that they were different on offense than I was on defense that I had to figure out. And we mended together and we went from there.
You talked about you bring a different perspective, spending most of your career on the defensive side, so you sort of see those running backs maybe from a little different perspective. What have you shared with them that maybe you've seen from the defensive side that made running back so difficult for you?
Well, I teach them, the thing I talk to them about is, me being a former linebacker, the things that gave me problems, how to set up your block, how to go a different direction and then come back and make a cut on that. And your reads, I know for the most part, 99% of the time what defenses, once they set up, I know what they're going to do. And teach them how to read the defense a little bit more, because when you're an offensive coach, but you're really guessing on because you've never really been on the defensive side on what they're trying to do. But me being on the defensive side, I can kind of give them more of an insight on why they do certain things and how we got to respond to that.
New offensive coordinator in Shannon Dawson. How has the offense changed, if any, as far as the Golden Eagles are concerned?
It hasn't. It changed some because he brought in his wrinkles and stuff like that. But before as the system and all that, he brought in a great system. Nick Mullen is the most important thing to that system, and Nick has grasped it and gone with it. And Coach Dawson is the kind of guy that, when I first went in the room, I said, Coach, I never coached on offense a day of my life. He said, I'm happy I got you in here. And from this point on, I'm a better running back coach because of him, because he takes time out, he explains, he into detail, and he's laid back. He enjoyed it. He's a funny guy. He's not an uptight guy that the kids can't approach or kids can't ask questions about. And our guys like being around him, so it makes it a lot of fun.
It's funny, you've been on defense all your life and maybe never thought you have a chance to be on the same side of the ball as your son, who's an offensive lineman for the Golden Eagles. I would think, one, it's neat to be on a football team where Ty, your oldest son, is playing, but now you're on the same side of the ball.
Yeah, it's, I told Ty, I said, now I'm on offense, and if the running backs don't do good, you don't block good, your daddy get fired, then you don't eat. And so I said, you better block if you want to, if you want to continue to get them clothes and eat, you better block so your dad keep his job.
Looking ahead to this football season, it starts early September at Kentucky, but another tough schedule for the Golden Eagles. What are some things when you guys first get to camp you're going to emphasize to your guys to help yourselves get ready for the season?
Get better as a group. Get better as a group, not so much worried about the season to get there, but you got to get your body ready for a season, a 12-game season, the mental grind of it, knowing that each time you go out on the field, somebody's coming to get you. You're back to being the hunted, team out there. Everybody's looking for that Southern Miss game. It's always circled on. Every school I've been to in the conference that I coached at, Southern Miss game is always circled because they know that week you got to bring your best to beat those guys because Southern Miss is going to be a physical football team.
New coach in Jay Hopson. Sometimes when you have a coaching change, you may only know a guy just a little bit, but you and Hop have been together for a long time at Southern Miss.
Yep. We had 6 years prior to this year coming up, so we're getting ready to start our 7th year. Our kids grew up together, his girls and my oldest son, Ty, they grew up. I remember him in the trace. I can go to every house he's had in the trace out there in Hattiesburg. And, you know, he was looping through Hattiesburg the other day and came through the trace. And I'm out in the yard. I caught him eating ice cream. You know, you caught me, you know, because we've been friends a long time. We've been friends a long time. And he's a Mississippi guy, and I'm a Mississippi guy. So it goes, it's really good.
All right, Lytrel, looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun season. Thanks for giving us a few minutes today, and we look forward to it.
Thank you.
All right, Lytrel Pollard, he coaches the running backs now at Southern Miss after a long tenure on the defensive side of the ball. Little chance for you to get to know one of our Golden Eagle coaches, Lytrel Pollard. We'll see you next time.